Hello, everybody. Uh, Close on the heels of JEE Main notification, we have a notification for another All India entrance examination, and that is CLAT 2021. Now, what is CLAT? CLAT is the Common Law Admission Test for all the national law universities in the country. Now, as you all know, law today is emerging to be a career of choice, and it is a attractive alternative to engineering and medicine. So all those students who are not interested in pursuing either engineering or medicine, law at the national law universities is emerging to be a very attractive career option. Also, it is an integrated 5-year program immediately after 10 plus 2. Let us quickly look at the details of CLAT 2021 notification. First thing is that the Common Law Admission Test is a single entrance test for 22 national law universities, including Nalsar, Hyderabad, NLSIU, Bangalore, etc., etc. Now, the online registration for CLAT is commencing on 1st January and it will go on till 31st March. And the exam date, now that is significant because after JEE Main, the next major All India entrance test is going to be the CLAT, and it is going to be, the exam date is not March. There's a mistake here. Exam date is actually 9th May. So please correct this. This is actually 9th May and it is not 9th March. All right. So the eligibility is 45% in 10 plus 2 for all categories except SC/ST. In the case of SC/ST, if you get 40%, it is sufficient. So again, let me correct this. This is 9th May and not 9th March. Okay. Now, any optional, whether you come from the science stream, whether you come from commerce, arts, whatever be your combination in 10 plus 2, you are eligible to go for common law admission test. Now let's look at the format. First thing is that CLAT is an offline test. In fact, CLAT has a history of switching from online to offline to online to offline, etc. Last year, there was quite a drama associated with CLAT. The matter went up to Supreme Court. There were repeated postponements. One of the major national law schools pulled out, that is Bangalore pulled out, and then Supreme Court did not allow that. And finally, in September, CLAT last year means 2020, was held in the online mode. But this year, it is again switched back to its original norm, which is the offline mode. So there's going to be an offline paper pencil test. Now, the interesting thing is that CLAT historically has been conducted in the afternoon, 3 to 5 p.m. So this year also, it is going to be 3 to 5 p.m. It is 2 hours. Unlike JEE Main, CLAT is not a heavy duty kind of, you don't need to prepare for 2 years or more as in the case of JEE. And I'll explain that to you in a short while why it is so. The number of questions is 150 multiple choice questions, and the marking scheme is +1 if your answer is right, minus 0.25 if your answer is wrong. All right, so that is the marking scheme. Okay, so the number of questions is 150. Okay, now let's move on. Let's look at the sections. You have basically 5 sections. English language contributing to around 20% of the paper. So 20% of the questions approximately will be English language. Now, English language questions will be basically in the reading comprehension format. So that means you will have a variety of passages, about 5 to 6 passages, and each passage will have certain questions after the passage. So you have to answer those questions on the basis of whatever is contained in the passage. Now, these questions would revolve around both what is given in the passage, that is factual, and also inferential. So both factual as well as inferential. So you need to understand the central theme of the passage. You need to understand the arguments, the way in which the author is presenting the arguments. You need to look at the assumptions. You need to look at the inferences that can be drawn. So all of these things you have to keep in mind while answering the questions. Also, in addition, there would be one or two questions on understanding the meanings of words and phrases in the passage. There will also be some questions on grammatical usage. So grammar also in a way is covered in this reading comprehension itself. So that is the format of the English language section. Then you have current affairs, including general knowledge. Here again, you'll be given a set of passages, and current affairs contributes around 25% of the questions. So here again, you will have a series of passages, and the passages will deal with contemporary events involving India and the world. So you'll have questions on arts and culture, international affairs, or historical events of continuing significance. So historical events, but there should be some contemporary relevance. So you'll have those kind of questions. Very interesting set of questions. But what it supposes is, and what it expects you to do, is a good newspaper reading habit. At least for the last 1 year, you should be having this habit of reading a newspaper every day. All right. If you do that, then you'll be in a position to answer these questions. Then you have legal reasoning contributing around 25% of the questions. Again, the title may look very, very complicated, but legal reasoning does not assume that you know some law. You don't need to know law before answering these questions. Here again, you will have a set of passages, about 5 or 6 passages. And what you're supposed to do in these passages is understand rules, understand and identify rules and principles given in the passage, have the ability to apply these rules to fact situations, and see if the rules change. If there's a change in the rules, then you'll have to also study the implications in terms of the fact situation. So you'll have a series of questions related to the rules that are presented in the passage here. So you don't need to have any legal knowledge per se for answering these questions. You need to have good clarity of thought, ability to analyze a given set of data, and then answer questions on the basis of sound common sense. That is what it is. Then you have logical reasoning contributing around 20% of the paper, or 20% of the questions, logical reasoning. Here again, you will be getting a series of passages, around 4 to 5 passages. And here, what you are expected to do is identify arguments, assumptions, and conclusions. You need to look at inferences and apply these inferences to new situations, then draw relationships, analogies. So there will be a lot of critical reasoning questions. There will be questions on coding, decoding, blood relations, direction tests, some puzzles, all of them presented in the form of passages. So that is about logical reasoning. Logical reasoning involves a bit of practice. So if you have sufficient practice, you will be in a position to answer those questions. So the practice would involve getting exposed to a variety of question formats and develop the ability to answer the questions quickly. That is what it involves. Then you have finally quantitative techniques, around contributing to around 10% of the number of questions. So what do you have in quantitative techniques? Here, data will be presented in the form of text, in the form of tables and charts, pie diagrams, bar diagrams, etc., etc. What you need to do is answer questions following each set of figures that are given. So the questions would presuppose knowledge of maths up to 10th class. Basically, questions involving ratio and proportion, percentages, mensuration, and a bit of statistics. So anybody who is comfortable with 10th class level math should be in a position to answer these questions. So if you see, the sections here are not very involved. The practice also is not like your JEE main kind of practice. Questions are all rather, I would say, the sections don't involve too much of practice, except that you need to have good reading habit to answer those questions in English. reading a good newspaper to answer current affairs, clarity of thinking, analytical ability to answer legal reasoning, a bit of practice to answer logical reasoning, and again, practice on common question types in quantitative techniques. So that is how the CLAT format is. So the registrations are going to start on 1st of January. So it is an attractive, as I told you, it's an attractive career option for those who are not interested in engineering and medicine. How is it attractive and all that? That is a subject for another video. We will do another video where we will discuss the career options after a course in law. But basically, this is what the format of the entrance test is. And anybody who's interested to know more about CLAT, careers in law, and anything about the course, national law schools, you can ask those questions in the comment section, and our team will be glad to answer those questions. All right. On that note, let's end this video here.